Hey guys, so this week I'm going to show you how to make these trousers. There we go, so you can tie them up, voila, and you can wear them as shorts too. So first off, when I started this project, I instantly got distracted and made myself a balloon dog to accompany me. He acted as some very solid moral support. Once I'd done the balloon dog, I went and took a few measurements around my calf so I'd know how wide the trousers should be and around my thigh, but as many measurements as I felt I needed. An important note, when you're actually taking these measurements, it's very important that you actually leave a centimetre or two around each seam, so that when you sew them together, the trousers won't shrink so much that they don't fit you. Once I'd done that, I went ahead and pinned the trousers together and did a very, very rough test fitting, so I'd know that I was at least in the rough vicinity of them fitting. Once I'd double checked that they fit, I went ahead and overlocked all the edges so the fabric wouldn't fray. After overlocking, I went ahead and ironed every single piece. I've never really ironed my fabrics until like the very end of my project. Turns out it makes a huge difference, so if you haven't done it and if you've thought about it and haven't done it, then I really recommend doing it. I really recommend just ironing them over once, just to flatten everything out before you sew it together. Right, yeah, so I wanted to dye my trousers a rough, sort of brownish, beigeish colour, but I wanted them to look sort of naturally dyed, so not like completely 100% uniform, so I decided to use tea instead of like an actual fabric dye, and it came out exactly as I had hoped it would. Here you can see the different levels of dyeing it, so Here's the piece at 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes and 25 minutes. And you can see it gets progressively darker as you leave it in for longer. And I decided to use the 20 minutes because I figured it would probably lose some of its colour once I'd actually rinsed it through. Once I'd dyed the pieces, then it turned out I actually needed to add a little piece on the back, which you usually wouldn't have to do if you took the measurements from the beginning. However, I wasn't working with a brand new, or I wasn't working with a freshly cut piece of fabric. I was working with cut-offs from a previous project. Yeah, then I put the triangular piece into dye, and I went ahead and made some pockets for the side of my thighs so I could keep stuff like lens caps, extra banana, I don't know, whatever you keep in those pockets. Once my triangular back piece had finished dyeing, I went ahead and made 2 welt pockets on the back. I'll leave you a link on how to make a welt pocket if you don't know what it is. Once the back piece had finished dyeing, I went ahead and made a welt pocket, it's called. It's essentially just a slightly smarter pocket which people tend to use on the back of their jeans. Yeah, I'll leave you a link if you want to learn how to make one of these, because I won't go into detail with it in this video. It was sort of roughly at this point, well, slightly earlier, that I did a rough layout of the trousers, so I would know so I'd get a good idea of what they would actually look like as a final product. As you can see, I've got the bottom cuffs. The only thing I didn't stick in was the tops of the pockets and the thread that I was going to have, or the rope that I was going to have going through the cuffs. My piece wasn't quite tall enough, so I had to go ahead and add another piece of fabric just so the back piece would reach the same height as the front 2 pieces. Again, this is something that you can fix if you're more careful than me in the design process. So here I'm sewing the pocket on, and I found it was quite tricky to get the line up. Just be, if you're doing these kinds of pockets, just be really careful on where you put them, because it's really easy for them to just skew slightly, and it'll ruin the whole look of the pocket. Once I did the pockets, I went ahead and made some flies. I made a zipper, essentially. Well, not a zipper, a button-up fly on the trousers. What I did here is, like, I don't really know how to do them. I just studied different trousers that I actually own from various places, and that's how I did the whole thing. So if you want to make something like this and you don't have any serious experience in pattern making or anything like this, it's easy to do. You just have to look at, or like, you just have to study what the current clothes you already own. Yeah, so here you can see me pin up the belt tags, and then I sewed them behind the scenes whilst the camera wasn't on. So for the buttons, I own this pack of 100 plain wooden buttons, which I found quite boring, but with a little bit of lacquer that I got from IKEA, I just went ahead and gave it a nice coating to give it a slightly darker, a more faded finish to the sort of final edition, which I thought contrasted much nicer against the trousers than the original colour. Once I'd done that, I went ahead and sewed the buttons in. Well, I went and sewed the buttons in, because who doesn't like buttons? And voila, trousers are basically done. Here you can see my victory jelly. Here you can see the finished trousers. As you can see, they're not perfect in any way. There's some messy seams and that kind of stuff, but I think as a whole, I think they came out really well. And I hope you guys like them and are inspired to try making some for yourself. If you like this video, leave me a like. If you're going to make a pair of these pants or something similar and need any instruction on how to start, then just leave me a comment below. I'm happy to answer anything. And if you love this video, then I would love it if you would hit that subscribe button for me. It's either down here or down here. Either way, if it's not there, then I will cue the end screen now.